You are now tuned in to Hollywood Wayz with Doug and Breezy. Oh, hey Ted.
Welcome back, Hollywood Wayz. I'm Doug Ellen.
Breezy.
What's going on?
Back at it.
You keeping safe?
Trying to. Yeah, just staying in the house. You know.
Were you nervous when you came into the parking lot that was the scene of a robbery?
You know what? I was like, on the drive here, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even about to worry myself, you know? And because I think that causes more
That's
harm
what
than help.
they do to us. And although the thing is, this isn't a media thing. Like I said, it's happening to people I know. And but everybody is getting really paranoid, and I don't like it.
Yeah,
because,
I'm super sick of seeing it. Like, I can actually just remove myself from social media during these times because it doesn't make it any better. And every other post is a violent one.
Do you ever take social media breaks where you
all
just
the time?
And you go, what? I just won't look at this shit. And do you not look, or what do you do?
I don't. I'm not a huge phone person. I mean, if it wasn't for, business and stuff like that, you probably would not be able to contact me.
So you're not like creeping on exes in the middle of the night, looking at what they're up to?
No, because they're not up to nothing.
Nah. You didn't have any good ones that you're like,
nah.
Shocked they made something themselves. You're like, nah.
And anybody I've dated, like with the exception of one, we're still cool. So,
good.
No need to creep.
You know what? I think it's important that you end relationships in a good way. I think that tells you a lot about everybody, and my ex-wife lives around the corner from me.
Yeah.
And, obviously we share responsibilities of our kids, which is, Hollywood divorces are often tough. But
you only got one baby mom?
I only got one baby mom. Does that make me weak?
Nah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Your pimp game is not very strong.
My dad's got a few.
Does he?
Yeah.
A few?
Yeah.
You mean more than 3 or 3?
4. He has 4.
4 baby mamas. How many kids?
There's 6 of us. 5 or 6 of us.
Are you all kind of like tight? Are you a family at all? Or no?
Yeah. Everybody's cool. Like, it's no.
You know what? It's
no
nice though, kind of.
Like I love my brother's moms, and they love my mom, and it's not.
And there's no, because usually I was always worried. I have 2 kids. I was always just worried if you had more than 2, at least one's going to be a complete fucking asshole. Anyone in that group is just, oh God, how'd we end up with that one?
Yeah, well, a lot of men who have multiple baby moms, they just can't really. They're not the dominant ones in the situation. So then your girl goes crazy, and there's nothing you can do about it because she was weak.
We saw. You called me, by the way, Breezy. Now, who I gotta let it. This is a sweet person who I do believe kind of exudes positivity. But you did send me this thing about this Facebook murder last. I don't know why I'm laughing about it. It's horrible. But this Facebook murder, this guy killed his ex-wife and his girlfriend.
Yes.
And then himself on Facebook.
Yes. He made the announcement on Facebook to what he had done and what he was about to do. And I think he just wanted to get his message out there, which was, to not play with people's emotions, which me and Chris were having this conversation, and I think people don't understand that that's a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
There are people, I tell her all the time, I think when you are in an emotional state, that's the one place, with the exception of the ocean, that you have no control.
Yeah.
You will
But
maybe lose all of yourself.
I like
in
how
that
you
moment.
presented it, though, as an announcement. Is that like a new thing now? You got to announce before you commit a crime?
No. But that just goes to show you the power of social media. Like, that man knew that message was going to carry. Yeah. And it's a viral moment. It's an unfortunate one, but it has become a viral moment. Like, and more people are doing that.
And the truth is, just divorce, when that comes in, and when child custody, again, I had a great divorce and I have a great ex-wife, but when I've seen some people go through some stuff, and when your kids get involved, when money gets involved, when security gets involved, by emotional security, people can snap. So,
and that was his thing. His thing was the kids. These kids, these women were teetering with him, with his children. He wasn't able to see them.
Except this dumb fuck just left his kid orphans.
Well, I seen something by this one guy who just speaks to these type of situations all the time, and he actually said that the guy's kids were there. The same kids.
Oh, they were, yeah.
They said that the kids were in the car.
Yeah, but he didn't hurt them. But
he didn't.
He hurt them now because they're going into God knows what, though, foster care, or hopefully there's a grandparent.
But between, your own emotions, your own chemical balance, and then drugs, all these things play a big part. I had a friend last week who just snapped. I don't know if it was drug fueled or what.
What happened?
But he killed his grandmother. He killed his sister. He killed a police officer, shot another police officer, and shot his son in the face. So,
oh my God,
and all of this is on social media.
How old is his son?
12.
Is he gonna be all right?
I'm not sure yet.
Oh my God.
You know, because he's a minor, they they don't really release
And what happened? What happened to your friend?
He's dead. He's dead.
The weird, I mean, we are talking about this more and more now because it really is so relevant now, mental illness and what's going on. But the guy on Facebook, he said, which was kind of chilling when you watch it. He said, "I didn't know
I could be this person."
Yeah, and your friend, did he have a violent tendency that you knew of?
No, and I think that's the most shocking. Like, who was that? Like, what was that? And you know, I watched the footage and I watched it over and over. And
What do you mean the footage? He filmed it?
I mean, you know, when you live in a neighborhood like me, my cameras from my house will capture what's going on next door, to my right, to my left, and across from me, and whatever's behind me. Like, you know, these door cameras are everybody. It's capturing. Like, you literally. I don't know how people are getting away with so much these days, because with the technology, you're able to see. My cameras are crystal clear.
So on these door cameras, they have the whole
somebody,
video.
Yeah,
of this?
somebody captured it. Somebody captured it on a ring or whatever system was above the garage, adjacent from the house, and then somebody captured on their cell phone from a window across the street from the home.
I mean, you know,
that's why I hate. That's why I can disconnect from social media. You know what I mean? Because like I was literally. Nobody knows that I know this person or that this is a friend of mine, but I was just scrolling through Instagram, and I paused, and I'm like, did the whole setup without audio just look too familiar? And I clicked the audio, and I'm like, fuck, this is it.
Oh, my God.
And I sent it to my best
That's
friend.
how you found out about it?
That's not how I found out. But I seen that literally like the next day.
I mean,
because everybody was confused as to like what happened, you know, but... Social media is opening and closing the cases very quickly.
I mean, it's so horrible, and the fact that it was posted and then stays up, which, you know,
Yep.
I mean, I saw this thing. I don't know why this is going dark, but it is what it is, and it was also Pennsylvania, but it's like 4 months ago, and it ended up on the internet where this guy, which all I'm saying, I'm not trying to teach anybody a lesson, and this is a Hollywood show, but there are really fucking mentally ill people out there that can snap, and while you get in your car and you want to have road rage, you just make sure you're the craziest motherfucker out there if you're going to do that, because shit happens. And this guy, I don't know if you saw this, it was in Pennsylvania, but guy's fighting with his neighbor, and the neighbors, him and his wife, are yelling at this guy and throwing snow at him over a shoveling driveway.
Oh, I seen that.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, for months I couldn't get out of my head. And the guy goes in the house, gets a gun, and executes both of them. And it looked like at a Goodfellas. Like it was so chilling and so horrifying, and whatever.
I feel like the times are just exposing more and more of the mental, you know, imbalances in people too, you know, with everything going on. Like it's really, it may not be rough for us and where we're sitting, but you know, for a lot of people, it's still hard. It's still hard.
I got a lot of friends going through a lot of stuff too. And, you know, we talked about this, but a lot of people just go, oh, if you have money, all's well, and all this. Mental illness is mental illness. I had a couple of friends during COVID who have a lot of money that killed themselves, you know, and I have a couple of friends who lost their children to suicide over the last year also. So
money's not the answer for sure.
Money's not the answer. And again, it's always a help for whatever situation you're in, and hopefully it can help someone get some help. But mental illness is a real thing, and
I feel like if you're dealing with stuff, like, just don't be afraid to get help.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I think people don't get, you know, the help that they need, so it just spirals out of control.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting time because now, and I'm watching so much stuff where people talk about when they were growing up, just like the idea of asking for help was so embarrassing and so humiliating. So hopefully whoever's listening, like, you know, take care of your mental health and get it together. And we're gonna talk about a couple things. We're gonna get into Hollywood stuff. We're gonna answer some questions from people. We're gonna talk about Kevin Hart's new show on Netflix. We're gonna talk about some good food. Breezy?
Yeah, I think I was just thinking that for that after that conversation, we should go into that ad for the BetterHelp.
Yeah,
because it's a therapy.
So, and we're going to talk about some other stuff and stuff going on in my life and career, and some stuff in Breezy's too. So we'll be right back. All right, welcome back.
Woo!
Hollywood Wayz, we're going light, I hope. Actually, I don't even know.
Picking this thing up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a heavy time. What can I tell you? And I'm having a heavy time because I got, and I'm not trying to be political, though. Get vaccinated, you dummies. But anyway, I got shingles vaccine yesterday, and I got the flu shot.
What the hell are shingles?
Shingles are like some old man shit, and old women too. Like after 50, you can get them. They're like sores that grow on your. I mean, not that this is
the
light,
chicken pox virus that lays dormant in your body from the time you were a kid, and then it reemerges usually upon a stressful situation when you're an adult, and it's horrible, like blistering and all sorts of shit.
Anyway, it supposedly feels like acid on your body, so I got the
I've
vaccine.
never heard about this in the African American community. So
You know what?
I've heard of it, but I don't think we deal with that. I think we're
You're young enough.
We got
to
enough
probably got
fucking
the
problems.
chickenpox vaccine.
You know what? But African Americans rarely have skin problems. We don't get that. We don't really, a little scratch, a little itch here and there.
Yeah, good skin.
We'd have to get vaccinated for it, though. It's like, my skin doesn't blister.
I don't know. I don't want
terrible.
to. We should look that up because I don't want to tell people wrong information. But supposedly my doctor said anyone over 50, you should get this immediately. And I know people have gotten it. They said it's like acid being poured over their body when you get shingles. So hopefully I'm not going to get it. So I'm good.
Take care of yourself.
So, but I want to talk about what's the Hollywood story of the week. And for me, HBO was, My Place and this and that. The new Sex and the City reboot. They're rebooting everything, by the way, Breezy. There's every show besides Entourage on the planet Earth they reboot. I mean, it's, 6 Feet Under's coming back and Sex in the City.
Sex in the City was like a female kind of Entourage, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
It came first, though. So, I did not model Entourage after Sex in the City. But, by the way, I liked Sex in the City. Like
I love that Sex in the City was a bunch of beautiful women.
Yeah, well, okay, that's fine. I like that, too. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say that. I like beautiful women. I don't know. It's like you're not okay to say that.
You can say that. I
liked it because the writing was really smart and intelligent. But, yeah, I loved Sarah Jessica Parker. I love Sarah Jessica Parker from early days. She was in a great television show 40 years ago called Square Pegs. That was funny as shit. And then she was in Honeymoon in Vegas, which I love, and other stuff also. So
I watch Sarah Jessica because she's beautiful.
All right. I watch her because she's funny and beautiful and intelligent, and she's fucking empowered, Breezy. No?
Whatever. But I like to look at her.
All right, but I want to talk about this without spoilers because a couple of things related to this show. Mm-hmm. They killed off a main character in the first 2 episodes of this show, Big, that she chased around, but they did it in two things happened. One, he dropped dead after running on a Peloton, and there's all this stories, the Peloton stock dropped the next day. So the question is, people have been asking me, I'm getting a lot of DMs about how I used product placement on Entourage and anything else I've done. And when you deal with a company like Apple used to give us lots of computers for the show, and Mercedes would give us cars, and Ferrari, I was not going to make them look bad.
Right.
Nobody was going to get in a Ferrari and like the brakes don't work. You know what I mean?
But when you're doing brand placement, is that a thing? Like, is it don't make us look bad, or nothing negative can happen surrounding this brand? Is that how that goes?
Usually the brand is involved and will say, we're not comfortable with that. And people are like, well, it's a Peloton's the common bike. Of course, that's what he'd be on. But they could have used anything. They did not. And they showed like a close-up of the Peloton logo. But the weird thing is, the next day there's a commercial with Chris Noth, who plays Mr. Big on the show, where he's alive. And I'm like, was this all a setup? Because it's getting so much press that people are talking more about this than they are about the show. So
there was a commercial of him, a Sex and the City commercial?
A Peloton commercial where he's still alive. And basically saying like, it's important that you do this. So, but there was a bigger thing that happened in the show that was a little strange to me. He has this heart attack, and then Sarah Jessica Parker, who you watch because she's beautiful, I watch because she's smart, and she sits there holding him, and she doesn't call 911. My girlfriend was like, why isn't she calling 911? And I'm like, babe,
she was in shock, maybe.
Well, I told my girlfriend, there is no time for shock. If you see me having a heart attack, get your ass on the phone, call 911. I don't want handholds. I don't want to be kissed. I want an ambulance to show up.
He needed that life alert.
Is that still around? I've fallen and I can't get up?
Yeah, the fucking commercials come on at 2 a.m. every day.
I haven't been up at 2 a.m. in like 5 years. What are you doing up at 2 a.m.?
Minding my business. Chilling, looking at life alert commercials.
So were you a Sex and the City fan?
I was.
Before your time.
Yeah, I was. But my mom liked it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was cool.
I can't believe I'm at that stage. It's just so sad. That's what you said about Entourage, too. Now, Sex and the City actually started before us at least a few years before us. But
I think it's just because I wasn't really a TV person.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was watching all that Entourage, Sopranos. Like, oh, she did not miss it.
Yeah.
It was annoying.
And now are you a TV person?
Nope.
What do you like to do? What's the hobbies? Like, what's a daily thing that's exciting to you besides hanging out with the kids?
I love engineering. I love sound engineering, and that's what I do. Like even yesterday, I was like studying. You know what I mean? Why
Is that
I don't
for
know.
Music
It's just
or what?
yeah, it's for anything, but
Yeah.
it's anything sound. But that's what I like. So I'm always looking for new stuff. I sat at my computer. I probably spent like $1,300 on stuff.
That was
you
cool.
know, just but that's what I like.
Did you see that? There's a couple of docs, but there was a Dre doc, and then there was one. Jimmy Iovine's in a couple of them, who's just world class, amazing producer. But just talking about him and how he created sounds is I don't know, interesting to me.
I've been watching a lot of old like I just watched was it Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
About Queen.
Yeah.
And like that, it was just so amazing to me, just how they, were able to come up with stuff when there was really nothing at that time. You know what I'm saying? And now technology is like to the moon.
There's some great music docs. You know what? One you should check out is 20 Feet from Stardom. Have you seen that? So this is about these background singers and these singers, and I don't want to blank on anyone's names, but like Mary Clayton and other ones who've sung on some of the great songs of all time.
What time frame is that?
This is like 60s, 70s,
Okay.
80s, but they're still around and still going.
Yeah,
These are world-class Aretha Franklin type talents that never got their due and never made it. And there's no answer to why. And it's like everyone who knows them, who worked with Aretha and worked with whoever else from that time period is like, Mary Clayton, and I'm blanking if anyone could pull up who the other ones are, but these are some of the best singers of all time, and they've sung, like Mary Clayton, I believe it was, sung on Gimme Shelter by the Stones, which at 3 o'clock in the morning, she gets a call. It might have been even Philadelphia. I'm probably giving wrong information, but gets a call, like the Rolling Stones are here. They want you to come in and sing this song, which is now one of the most famous songs in rock history, and she just comes in the middle of the night and sings like rape, murder, it's just a shot away. That's the lyrics of this incredibly classic song, Gimme Shelter.
Times have changed.
Yeah, Darlene Love, Mary Clayton,
Darlene
Judith
Love.
Hill,
I was
Lisa
watching
Fisher.
Tina Turner has one.
The doc.
Yeah,
HBO.
she has a doc. Yeah, did you watch it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting, like, even how she came into that rock space, and Mick Jagger's like, yo, who is this? Like, I want to dance like that. I want to move like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you would think that was him, but, she was inspiring to a lot of people.
Yeah, some of this stuff, I mean, I love it so much because, a lot of Hollywood and entertainment stuff, there's a lot of timing and luck. And, the Rolling Stones said Howlin' Wolf was one of the great guitarists and bluesmen of all time. Like, really never got his due till the Rolling Stones said, this is who influenced us. This is who, like, made us do what we do, and then started playing him. But you should watch 20 Feet from Stardom.
Hollywood has changed. Like, I'm just even watching that Bohemian Rhapsody and seeing Freddie Mercury, like, just the way they used to party and do stuff. Is that still happening, you think?
Well, let me say two things about that, because Bohemian Rhapsody is a Disneyized version of how Freddie Mercury was partying. Like,
but
that
I mean,
is some light.
if that's light,
then
of course we know that we're not. This isn't raw. It isn't actual footage. But
I don't think. Look, there's always going to be the partiers,
crazy.
But I don't think it's the same thing anymore. I mean, the Eagles have a great documentary also, and they talk about how Joe Walsh would just go in and trash hotel rooms and stuff. I don't think it's happening as much anymore because people like, which is. It's cool and it's sad, but at the same time, people are into like wellness now, and I think like
people are vegan.
Yeah, and there's
now.
also there's no rock bands anymore really that are making it. It's more like you're a DJ, you're a hip hop artist that you got your crew. But I don't know. I would love to see like a good old fashioned.
Did you ever have those type times in your past?
I have never been, even though
you've never been a part of trashing a hotel room.
I've never been a party animal. Everyone used to ask me like Entourage, oh, you live that life. I never lived that life. I was never a partier. I was never going out all the time.
But did you ever go?
I've gone.
You don't have to go consistently, but have you gone?
I've gone and
had the time of your life.
I've had some good times, and I've seen some crazy people act insane where you're just like, I don't understand this. Because, I mean, when you watch the Eagles doc and you see Joe Walsh, who's one of the greatest guitar players to ever live, talking about how he would get fucked up and just start throwing shit out the window, and you're like, why?
Doug is the guy who calls down to the front desk at 2 a.m. and saying, these people down the hall.
Shut Joe Walsh the
won't
fuck
stop
up,
making
man.
noise."
What is he doing? But, I've never trashed a hotel room. I mean, would you ever do that? Would you ever get fucked? You don't get fucked up, though. You're not a drinker. You're not
no.
drunk.
I don't even like room service. I don't.
What do you mean you don't like room service?
I don't like to see old women come to my room and
like.
I don't like it.
What does that mean, old women? You mean like the
I just
the
don't like
staff?
it. Like I don't like it. I don't think anybody's
If
grandmother.
young hot women brought food, would that change things?
Yes, but I don't think anybody's grandmother.
Sounds like a new business opportunity.
I don't think anybody's grandmother should be like, cleaning up a trashy hotel room, and people are just rude, and I would just never want any of my elders in that space. So,
No, of course not. But they need jobs, and
I would literally
you're not gonna
tip
go to
room service and tell them I'm putting my do not disturb on.
That's nice.
But here you go, thank you. I just don't like to see it. It reminds me of just like slavery, and I don't like it.
But they need jobs, though. I mean, that's why they're there.
They still
know
have
what I
their
mean?
job. They're just not cleaning my room.
So what do you want? What do they do?
Nothing.
You
Come
just
in,
hang
talk.
out, say hello. I like that. That's what you
Yeah.
want the cleaning people to do at the hotels now. Just come in and chat.
Yeah, like I'll try to see how they're doing, check their temperature, because it's always like, unfortunately, it's always like a foreign person who doesn't really speak English, and they're just like real,
So you like to talk
walking
to
on eggshells, huh?
them. Yeah, well, it's nice of you that you will talk to them. I like that, Breezy. You're a kind person.
Oh
I think
yeah, I
everybody
love
should be.
people. I don't like that. I don't, service industry is like I have a different outlook on that.
when I see people treating service people badly,
exactly.
that
People are
pisses
mean
me
to
off,
servers and mean to valet and mean to people who are of service to
That's
you.
why I want you to watch this show, White Lotus, on HBO. It's only 6
I
episodes.
keep seeing it too.
I watched the Kevin Hart Show, 8 episodes, 6 episodes
I got
of
you.
rich white assholes treating service people like shit.
Did you ever watch Schitt's Creek?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so remember they were like, super rich, and then when
But
it came
they're
time,
funny. Yeah.
they're fucking hilarious.
But I mean,
I'm
like
so sad that show's not coming back.
Yeah, I mean, so I can give you, because Eugene Levy.
You can't give me another Schitt's Creek, can you?
Yes, I can. Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, those are like
legendary.
These are legends. These
She
are
was in
comedy
Home
legends.
Alone.
Of course, she was in a million things. But some movies you should check out: Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show. You're a dog person, so Best in Show is
I
amazing.
feel like
and
I've seen that.
it's great. It's just like a comedy about dog shows and lunatics who love their dogs so much. Brilliant, funny stuff. So, but we're going to talk when we come back. We're going to talk a little food of the week, because supposedly people
What you
like
got?
that.
You got something with some pasta in it, don't you?
I'm going to talk about some dim sum, Din Tai Fung,
Oh.
and then we're going to talk about Kevin Hart's new show a little bit. So we'll be back.
Breezy and Doug's Daily Dish.
All right, welcome back. We're talking
Food.
we're talking a little food, but also because I sent this to Ted the other day on
You
social
love
media,
food.
and I'm not, when people. Some people get mad when people try to say, "Oh, do charitable things," like while we're talking on a thing, as if I'm trying to, bring shine onto myself. But what I'm trying to do is, I think it was a cool thing for everybody to do. And what I said to Ted that I think we should do and get a little group together, it was this Good News Movement is a great Instagram page with just good shit that makes you feel good that there's actually decent people in the world and you don't feel like crap all the time.
I know what you're talking about. I love that. I
So-
love the idea of that.
Yeah, so I saw this thing where this group gets together every time before Christmas, like 15 of them. They all bring whatever amount of money, $100 a piece if there's 15 people, and they go to dinner where it's going to cost no more than $300, and they leave the rest of the money as a tip. And I thought we should do that.
Yeah.
I think that, and what happened in this one story that I thought was great was like the waitress started crying.
Oh, yeah.
And said, "You know what, you restored my faith in humanity. It's been a bad month. I'm in trouble, this and that, and this was all good." So I would like to get Foxman and Breezy to commit, and I'm going to say where we're going. Din Tai Fung. We're going to bring whatever we want to bring, and we're going to leave a really big tip, and we're not even going to wait around for the credit. We're just going to leave it and go. What do you think?
I would love to see the person's reaction to it.
So you're more about the reaction than
I'm
hoping
not,
that it works
I'm not
out.
doing it for myself. I want to be a part of how they receive it.
Okay, and let me say how this relates to Hollywood and TV. Taxi is one of the greatest sitcoms ever, and there was an episode where Christopher Lloyd, who you know from a million things, including Back to the Future, who's a genius, but he was a drugged out lunatic on the show Taxi and a comedy. But he was apparently rich, and he decided like all of them should just go around town and give money out to people who were less fortunate and feel their reactions, and it made everybody feel really good. So anyway, I want to do that, but I want to do it as the food of the week, Din Tai Fung, dim sum. This is a place that used to be in Arcadia. It's like world famous from China. And it came to the U.S. like 15, 20 years ago. And I used to drive like an hour every day to Arcadia because I became so obsessed with this stuff. I've taken Ted there, but are you a dim sum person?
I've never had it.
Okay, these are like little dumplings. Soup
I know what
dumplings.
they are. Yeah.
All right. Well,
It's like in soup, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a little like pasta dumpling, I guess, and it's got soup and chicken, pork, shrimp inside. It is.
You love food.
I love food.
You do. It's so crazy because I'm like the total opposite.
You're not a food person.
No.
What the hell?
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought
just
you like
not.
to cook.
I love to cook.
But you don't
I
like
love
to
to
eat.
feed people, but I don't like to eat.
So when you're cooking, do you taste?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But most of the time I don't though. I know what it tastes like, and
Right.
it might just be a gift. Like last night, I cooked dinner and my friends came over, but I just cooked for them.
What'd you cook?
Lamb chops, asparagus. We had some like wild rice.
I'm so hungry. Okay. Well, I want to do this Din Tai Fung thing. I want
I'm
to leave
down,
a big
though.
tip.
I'm
and
down.
They have. I mean, it doesn't sound that exciting, but
And where is it located?
It's now there's one in Century City. There's one in Glendale.
Now is this in? We have to be careful. You know what we're up against here. So is this outside seating? Is it
No,
indoors?
there's
Is it
indoor
both?
seating.
Is
There's
there
indoor
private
seating.
dining room?
Yeah, no, there's indoor seating, but by the way, it's not going to stop someone from coming into the place. I mean, I don't want to stay on this shit, but it's real. I mean, I just watched in Beverly Hills. They were like physical therapy, and two guys with guns walked in and robbed everybody while they're getting their legs stretched out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just bad. And in
Go
Chicago,
grocery shopping.
Lamborghini place got robbed in Chicago. Like, I don't know.
Why don't you get a chef to come over and make dim sum?
And we'll just leave them a really big tip.
Yeah, get the chef from Din
Tai Fung.
Tai Fung.
Do you know what? For my
If you're listening, chef, we need you.
For my 45th birthday party, I had a surprise birthday party that an old relationship threw for me, and she got Din Tai Fung there. They cooked it at my friend's house, which was pretty awesome. So
From that restaurant?
From that restaurant, and they apparently don't do that, but we had
Yeah,
that
they
happen,
do.
and it was awesome.
They did it for
was
you once.
awesome.
They can
So,
do it again.
All right, so let's get into this this new show you had me watch.
True story.
True story. Kevin Hart, Wesley Snipes from I believe it's one of the writers on Narcos.
Yep.
Tell me about what excited you about this show.
I think the most thing was just seeing Kevin in a different light. I mean, and we see him as what he is, which is a comedian, and to see him just actually convey some emotion, some real emotion.
Yeah.
I was interested in seeing that. I love Wesley Snipes. I think we haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
So interesting to see what they were going to do together. And then I think for me, Wesley is a comedian in real life.
Mm-hmm. I don't know him.
I do, and he is.
So you did a movie with him,
I started a film with him.
and it never happened.
Well, COVID happened.
Right. Okay.
So, the schedule's conflicted. But yeah, he was like, I'm like, this is crazy. This guy is like, he's like a Richard Pryor or, any of those guys from back then. And I'm like, but all we've ever seen was such seriousness with him. And like,
Right. White Man Can't Jump. He's funny. Have you ever seen it?
yeah. No, I love White Man Can Jump. Yeah, love that film.
I can jump. Not really.
No. I knew you were lying. But no, I was interested to see that. And I think that the story's cool.
I'm with you on that. That's what got me. Like, Kevin, we kind of think of, he plays into it on the commercials that he yells a lot, which he does.
Yeah.
And he's very real in this, and I think that was the purpose for him, to really show something. But should he have just played Kevin Hart? I know it's like a dark story, and it'd be weird that
because
Kevin
I
Hart's
think
murdering people, but
I think that, even people in Hollywood, who you see isn't really who people are a lot of the time. And the thing that brought you here is the thing you have to maintain.
Right.
So I feel like that for Kevin. Not saying that that's not who he is, but I don't think he's just running around life yelling all the time or, but he is.
Or murdering people. But I'm saying, like, the character was not Kevin Hart, but it was Kevin Hart. I mean, he's basically Kevin Hart. Not that I'm saying Kevin Hart would ever murder somebody, or he might.
The whole thing is with that is that he was being extorted.
Mm-hmm.
The girl never died. She was never dead. This was a whole setup by his brother to get money.
By the way, can I just tell you
from him?
I mean, so Breezy, you know what my first question was after? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Okay, so spoiler alert. And you should have seen it already. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But that was the first thing I asked you after 10 minutes into the show. I said, is this girl really dead? But to be honest with you, I'm now on episode 4, and I'm like, of course she's dead. Yeah. She's got to be dead now because they're not going to go back to this. And I would have thought, now that's a little strange now that you're telling me that. Because I would have thought Wesley would have been like, okay, we're going to ruin the whole show for everybody, but I'm sorry. Watch the show. I don't know.
So the final, dang, wow.
I still got 3 to go, but not that by the way, I'm not being an asshole. It's well done. It's smart, but I'm not like riveted. I don't care that much what's going to happen. But I did go, this girl's probably not dead. He never checked her pulse. But Wesley, I would think after the next couple of events happened, would have lost his mind that Kevin Hart proceeded
it was a complete extortion scheme. The guy that came in the hotel,
and his brother was extorting him, correct?
Yes, it was his brother, but the guy that came in,
I'm smart. Whatever.
The guy
Call me a hack, do whatever you want. I know. I pictured this, but I just kind of gave up on it because I'm like, there's no way they're going back to this after all this. But that's disappointing. I'm not going to lie. That's disappointing because it felt obvious.
Once I seen honestly, the titles of the episodes were giving it up for me.
I don't even look at them.
They gave it up.
Just let me ask you a question. You and I understand people may not have seen this, but it's been out a while.
What kind of titles are we talking about? Like, this is the episode where they find out that she was never really dead?
No, the first episode is called King of Comedy. The last episode,
classic movie, by the way.
The last episode is called Like Cain Did Abel.
Okay.
So if you know the Cain and Abel story, you knew what's going to happen.
So he's going to kill Wesley.
Exactly.
Okay. So
that gave it, if you would, most people don't, but when that series comes on, which it doesn't really happen that way on TV anymore, but when that comes on, it says victory lap or whatever the name of the.
Yeah. I don't think they thought their audience was smart enough to know. But I said that, it's funny. I said that to you after 10 minutes, so we're going to give you spoilers. The show's not that great. The best thing about it, in my opinion, is Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes. That's the best thing about it. If you take them out of it, it's and it could have been.
I think the storyline is what resonated with me the most because I think that is something that happens. I don't know if it's that extreme extortion.
Yeah, of course that happens. It happens all the time. But I think what I thought was possibly interesting about it was that you were going to really deal with this jealous brother who was really upset with that he couldn't make it and his brother did. But that wasn't really there through the first 4 episodes. I mean, a little bit.
Well,
but I guess
the brother got him to break his sobriety, which I thought was a red flag immediately when I seen it. I was like, oh, this isn't going to go well.
Well, he had lots of red flags. I don't know. I'm disappointed in you telling me this because let's just – again, fast forward if you want to watch the show and ruining it for you. But me and you, if this happens and we go out one night and I wake up with a dead girl in the thing and you are extorting me and you walk out and then the guy who was supposed to handle it, I kill him, I would think you would lose your fucking mind and go, what the fuck did you do? What do you mean? Because there was no reason to kill him. But Wesley never even really has a major reaction to the fact that guy that they killed is like the brother of I don't even know what country they're from, but mobsters from somewhere.
Wesley's character just was not a good guy. And, he ended up setting up Gene. Poor Gene. Gene was nice.
I didn't even get to that. Gene's a fucking jerk off. I mean, we have a couple of crazy fans like that too, but if
Did you think Gene was crazy?
He's following Kevin Hart around because he's such a super fan that he's videotaping him in the middle of the night.
Yeah, look, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, you barely watched.
Have you not watched the whole thing? Have you experienced that? Have you experienced like being stalked or like a absolute crazy fan?
Let's be totally clear. I'm not that famous. I have experienced it. I have experienced it with really weird people who are obsessive and bizarre.
So have I.
I can't even imagine what you deal with, and I can't even imagine what Kevin Hart deals with. I mean, that it's actually scary because you want to engage with people, which we're going to do. We're gonna answer some questions after this. But,
would you rather know or not know that someone is stalking you?
Would I rather know or not know?
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen to me? I mean, what's the end result?
Would you want to know or would you not want to know?
Well, if I could live my whole life and they never really come to bother me, I'd rather not know. But if they're going to fuck with me, I need to know.
Well, nowadays with people's access to celebrated people, these type of fans can contact you at any point. They can do it back to back to back to back to back. So you'll never miss it. Like you're going to see it.
Yeah.
But 20 years ago, that wasn't the case.
Yeah. I mean, it's a terrifying thing. I mean, there's been serious. I don't know how we keep getting on crimes. The world is so bad. But I mean, there's, Rebecca Schaefer, who was an amazing young actress, was killed by her stalker. What? Yeah. I mean, she had I think she just booked or was about to book The Godfather 3. And this guy just shot. This is 25 years ago, probably. And she was, I think she was on, what show was she on? Mork and Mindy, I think. It may be more than 25 years ago, but she was a really talented young actress. And
I think we should update our passports and just hit
and
the
go
border.
Where they kill you in other places too. There's lunatics everywhere, sadly, and again, it also leads back to mental illness.
Where do Jewish people come from?
But yeah, everywhere. I mean, we come
God.
from Israel.
Where's your family from? Israel.
Yeah, well, no, not Israel. I mean, there are some Jewish people that
Where's
came
your
from Israel.
family
My
from?
family was from Eastern Europe, and we had a lot.
I think you should go there.
Yeah,
Go to Europe.
They, they're not the friendliest to the Jews right now, actually, which is pretty insane. Whether it's France is not a great place for the Jews. But anyway,
Okay, you know where I bet they're not robbing people at?
yeah,
Antarctica.
you're probably
Alaska.
right. Yeah.
You can live in Alaska.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a serial killer in Alaska, but we'll get into that.
What?
And there's no sunshine for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, there's something that just happened in Alaska where these people are not going to actually get sunlight for like a year and a half now. So I don't know what happened to the sky over there, but it's dark. And I'm like, we were talking about that. Like, what do you do living in a place like that? How do you know the difference? How do you live your day? What time do you go to bed? You know what I mean? We need friends from Alaska. I want to know what's going on.
We should go. We should go see some grizzly
I'm not
bears
going.
in Alaska.
I'm not
Another good
going.
movie for you
It's
before
so cold out there.
Before we leave this great movie documentary, Grizzly Man. I know you've never seen it. Really good movie about an actor, by the way, who allegedly almost got the show Cheers, which is a classic sitcom. He went to Alaska to go live with the grizzly bears and
Outside?
and became friends with them. He named them all, and he would get this close to the grizzly bears, and it's really a very interesting story about mental illness also. And what do you think the ending to that movie is? I don't want to be a spoiler.
Did they
but,
eat him?
Yeah.
They extorted him.
They ate him?
And his girlfriend. Yeah. And it was recorded on audio, not video, but it was recorded on audio.
So this is a true story?
True story. And
Oh, I want to see that.
And, Werner Herzog, who's an Academy Award-winning director, directed this documentary. It is fascinating and beautiful to look at, and I love grizzly bears. I don't want to go up to them and call them Coco and shit
So
like
wait,
he did.
someone actually, this is a real thing, and someone directed this real thing, like
Well-
Tiger King. You're saying?
Well,
Because that was real.
yeah. So Werner Herzog, I guess I don't know if he took his footage. I'd have to read about it, but this real guy, whatever his name was, went and lived with the Grizzlies and recorded all of this stuff. And then this great filmmaker put it all together, and it's I think it won the Oscar for Best Documentary probably 15 years ago. Can anyone confirm that? Grizzly Man, well worth watching.
And he got 8.
And his girlfriend. Yeah.
You keep saying his girlfriend.
Well, I mean, it's the
fuck
fact
that-
when you
the
bring
messed up
them
part
into
is
it.
that she wouldn't even have been there.
No, in a million years she
Well, it
would
was
have been
released
there.
in 2005.
Yeah, and he probably said, like, if I was like, Breezy, instead of talking about going to dim sum today, I'm like, why don't we go to Alaska and, like, live with the Grizzlies? They're all my friends. That's Coco, that's Barry over there, and you'll love them all. And then,
Powder puff.
yeah, and then we get eaten. We got, it's an Oscar winner, right? 2005? Well, we'll confirm that when
They
we come
lost
back.
their lives to a bear on October 6, 2003.
All right. Anyway, we will come back and answer some questions. All right, welcome back, Hollywood Wayz. Apparently, Werner Herzog was not even nominated for an Oscar for that movie, but it won the DGA award, which anyone who knows.
It won a few, just not an Oscar.
Yeah, but anyone who knows the business, usually anything that wins the DGA award is always nominated for an Oscar. And usually they kind of follow each other and they win. But anyway, it's a great documentary that I think you'll find interesting. So let's take some questions. What do you got, Breezy? We got Breezy, by the way, taking over social media of Hollywood Wayz. So
Yes. Not a question, but well, I guess
just
this is
like
a
me?
question. What
You
are
like
your
me?
top 3 favorite Christmas movies? Christmas is 2 days away, so
Oh,
give it to me. Top 3.
well, I can say off the top of my head, which I had an argument with my girlfriend if it's even a Christmas movie, but Die Hard's number 1. 100,000,000%. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Is that because he had on a Santa hat?
No, it's a Christmas movie. He's estranged from his wife and his child, and he wants to come see them over Christmas and wants to make good. And then Nakatomi Plaza gets taken over. It's a classic, and it's also a great movie for Hollywood people to know because Bruce Willis was on this show called Moonlighting, and he was looked at as like this funny comic actor, and all of a sudden they gave him $5 million, which at the time was unheard of, to do this movie called Die Hard. And there's a lot of interesting stuff. There's a Netflix documentary. I think it's called In the Movies, where you can see behind the scenes of Home Alone and Dirty Dancing and Die Hard. And when Die Hard was coming out, they didn't think anyone was going to appreciate Bruce Willis. They actually took him off the poster. They were going to release this movie with just the poster of Nakatomi Plaza, but I need to see that. But Breezy, your favorite Christmas
you
movies.
gave me one, so you're going one. That one is for your whole three.
Someone's got to give me a list. I mean, that's tough. We should have rehearsed this beforehand, but
No, for me, I mean, Christmas movies are those movies. It's like you can watch anytime. I would watch the Home Alone series, all of those anytime. I told you Why Him, one of my movies with James Franco that I love.
Right, that was like he goes to meet the parents or something like that.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that.
I love it, but like I'm kind of stuck at Home Alone.
Yeah.
So,
Ted, you got anything? Christmas movies?
Well, I mean, It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, the old ones that I grew up on, as a kid.
They're all
Christmas
getting canceled,
Story
by the way.
was epic. Christmas Story is one of the
Christmas
best
Story
movies ever.
Apparently, like either Miracle on 34th Street or It's a Wonderful Life. One of them's getting canceled. I don't know. And I just read an article. Jimmy Stewart was apparently like representing masculine toxicity or some stuff.
Toxic masculinity.
Oh, yeah. That's a term. That's a term. Breezy, what do you think about that? What do you think about looking back at a movie that's 75 years old that was beloved at the time?
Elf is a great one.
Elf is a great one. But what do you think about that? Looking back at these movies that were from this different time and different era and start judging them based on values that somebody decides is correct today. What do you think of that?
I mean, we are forever evolving. Like, I mean, I don't judge it, but like we were just saying, like trashing hotel rooms, that shit would have flew in the 90s, early 90s. It's not flying today.
Right now,
you are going straight to jail. You're going straight to jail.
Well,
and
not in L.A.
You might get shot at.
You get no bail if you trash a hotel room in L.A. and you're coming right back out and trashing another one the next day. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think back then it was so common, and you weren't the only one trashing a hotel room.
Yeah.
The hotel rooms were being trashed all over the place.
But I guess it's like when I showed you Airplane, I was like, did some of this strike you as offensive and stuff? But I think you do with history. You need to understand what the time was, how difficult it was to get things done, and how movies were reflections of the times that they were in.
Yeah.
And you can't start looking at them with these new values.
I'm the wrong person to ask about being offended. I am never offended. So that's like it's hard for me, you know? I'm not really offended by anything. Yeah. You can say whatever you want, do whatever you want.
Well, I think people would be much better off if they were all like this. But I do. I think people are getting offended way too easily.
Okay, since we're on that, someone said, do you think a modern day rom-com can top classics like Harry Met Sally, etc.?
Well, the funny thing is, I thought you were going to say, speaking of offended, someone just said you're ugly. So is that bother you? but they didn't say that to me. So I will never say something can't get topped. I mean, Harry Met Sally, which was clearly inspired by Annie Hall, which Woody Allen made. And I saw Harry Met Sally was one of the few movies I ever saw 2 days in a row in a movie theater. That's how much I loved it when it came out. Mm-hmm. But I would never say that something's not going to top it. But romantic comedies
hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. The genre became so saturated and people making the same type of shit. But there were some amazing romantic comedies that I'm blanking out at the top of my head. We should probably discuss this stuff before we get on.
Didn't you say Jews are from Israel?
No, I didn't. There are some Jews from Israel, but they're from all over the world.
Well, are we switching topics to Hanukkah movies?
Someone's inviting you to Israel, so
I've been to Israel, but who? What are they asking me? Are they
when are you coming to Israel?
No, they're not paying for me. They're not just they're inviting me to come. Yeah, I love Israel, so I will be back there soon for sure.
Okay, your favorite Tarantino dialogue?
Let's tell who's asking that.
This is Kites Vera. Kites Vera.
You know what?
Favorite Tarantino dialogue. I hear you talk about Tarantino, so I thought this would be a good one for you.
I mean, I love Quentin Tarantino, so I can't. If you asked me this any day, I'll probably give you a different answer. But off the top of my head, I think about Reservoir Dogs. And since you were talking about earlier Service, have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, because the first scene is they're in a diner and it's a bunch of guys, just like I'm talking about going to a restaurant and leaving a big tip. And Steve Buscemi, who's just one of the best ever, he doesn't believe in tipping, and this is all these gangsters, and they have this whole conversation about tipping and how the fuck you cannot believe in tipping. And one of the guy's mothers was a waitress, but it's a really funny scene that really shows character. And Quentin's the best, man. I mean, there's not a lot of people who write dialogue as well as he does. So we gotta do a Quentin movie. I would love to talk about that with you. You know,
we should and get into those big name, people like him who.
Yeah,
who were consistently.
Maybe we should Maybe we should talk about a couple of Quentin Tarantino movies next time and just like really get into them. You seen Django Unchained?
Yes.
You know, it would be two
Jamie
good
Foxx.
movies for us to see since we're talking Jews and blacks and how we're all living together.
We're all
and
from
getting
Israel.
along.
Look, we're all from Israel.
So, but if we could look at Django Unchained, which is about slavery, and Inglourious Bastards, and both of them have very similar themes because
Glorious what?
Inglorious Bastards.
Inglorious
So, and that is you know, alternate history about how, you know, the Nazis are defeated before Hitler gets to do a lot of the shit he does. And Django Unchained is alternate history and gives this, you know, Jamie Foxx this great role where he can kind of have his vengeance against some shitty human beings.
Yeah.
So I would love to talk about both of those, actually. I think that would be a good conversation. So maybe we'll do that next. All right.
How are those films? They gonna put me to sleep?
They're amazing.
Okay.
Asleep.
All
This
right.
is some of the best films ever.
All
Now, they do, which Quentin gets in a lot of trouble for, because in Django Unchained, which Jamie Foxx won the Oscar, I believe, right? He's certainly nominated, but the N-word's in it a lot. I mean, so it's in Quentin's movies.
I was about to do what the guy did on the plane.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Well, anyway, just back to the Kevin Hart movie. They put this white dude who gets on the plane with Kevin Hart and tells him his favorite bit and recites the N-word 9 times in front of 11 black people. Come on, that was stupid. I mean, nobody's gonna fucking do that who has a brain in their head or any decency. And like I said, watch Office Space, where you see this guy that some people put on the internet that I look like the guy, but it's like kind of a nerdy guy that's in his car listening to hip hop and he loves it. You can hear it. And a black guy drives by and he rolls his window up.
What's your
and
favorite
turns
rap
it down.
song?
My favorite rap song?
Yeah.
That's a tough question.
No, it's
I mean, yeah, it is.
Okay,
I mean,
favorite rap artists.
I mean, I sound like a fucking cliche, but I like Biggie. I like Jay-Z. I sound like an idiot. I like Saigon because he was on Entourage. I love Saigon, actually. But
I heard of him, but I'm not
he was
familiar
on
with his
Entourage.
music.
But anyway, he's not. It didn't come out like that. But I love Biggie. I love Jay-Z. I love Tupac. I mean, but I don't want to sound like a schmuck, so I don't want to like.
What
You know.
does that mean? We gotta convince Doug to stop being so hard on himself. Okay,
I'm not.
Love is in the air.
It sounds like so. What's your favorite? I like.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
I don't
matter.
know if I have a favorite though. I don't know if I have a favorite, but
We're in a time now where you like whatever you want. You do whatever you want to do.
I know you do.
It doesn't matter.
I-
It doesn't matter. I've been listening literally to Def Leppard for the past 2 months.
that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
and I was blasting and my windows are down and
Where did
I
you
don't
come up
care.
with that?
I'm inspired.
What do you listen to? Pour some sugar on me?
Pour some sugar on me.
Because you watched the documentary.
No. This was I just watched. And I didn't even really watch the whole thing, but
You know the drummer had one arm after a car accident.
I do
right?
know that.
You did?
I
Wow.
do know that.
You know, Breezy does some homework and shit, but that's such a weird thing that you're listening to Def Leppard. Like, it's far weirder you listening to Def Leppard
Well,
today.
I'm working on an album right now, and it's 80s. It's 80s. We're tapping into that 80s sound. So I want to listen to.
We need to stop, and I need to hear this because I just watched this doc that was talking about music and when it really shifted probably 10 years ago where the future of music was no longer going to be like the electric guitar because it was going to be computers.
Yeah.
It was going to be all this shit, which
Digitized.
kills me and is
Right.
like the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. So you're going back and I like Def Leppard, but there's certainly not someone that I would tell you that maybe that's the group you should be inspired by, but God bless that it is. So where did this come from? And I want to.
I mean, what me and my producer discussed was the 80s being the most versatile time in music, in my opinion. And even if I take it back to that Tina doc, you know, Ike Turner was doing rock music as a black person back then, 50s and 60s and stuff like that, but it wasn't really a thing. Most of his records were stolen from him.
Yeah.
He became a lunatic behind that, you know. But in the 80s, we had, you know, all types of people making the same type of music. You know, you had the Queens, and you had Prince, and you had what was I just talking about? Def Leppard. You know, you just had so many types of people, but all of the sounds were the same. All of the sounds the same. I mean, Queen and Another One Bites the Dust, a lot of people didn't even know that was their record, especially not the people from our time. You know what I'm saying? People would assume that that's a black person, you know, but watching these people take the soul and put it into their music, and, you know, it was like just sharing, you know, just the different vibes of music. And that doesn't really happen now. You know, hip hop has completely dominated and everybody wants to go to that space.
But hip hop does sample a lot of stuff from great artists from the 60s, 70s, 80s.
It does, but when we talk about probably now more than ever, anybody you could think of is doing rap music. Doesn't matter the shape, size, color, whatever. But we had not seen that since the 80s. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There was all, where would you see Tina Turner on stage with Mick Jagger?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like that happens now. We've seen Beyonce with,
all
whoever.
these mixes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was it had no color. It had no, that's what I mean.
I want you to check out Tom Petty doc, which is
Oh,
awesome.
I'm on a hunt for like everything
I want
right now.
two that I think are great about the music business and about two bands that I love. But Tom Petty,
I don't care about the business.
but it's interesting. I don't even mean just about the business. I mean like Tom Petty and the Eagles, both who ended up in things that won't happen today. Contract disputes where Tom Petty did not own any of his publishing, and he was the guy that basically said to the record labels, fuck you, I'll never make another record again unless I get my stuff back.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting stuff because you now see Taylor Swift just going, I'll just re-record it and release it myself. Like, nobody's going to...
Ashanti just did the same thing.
And
a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, and I'm doing it with TV shows. So I'm going to go make my
Wow.
own thing now where I don't go wait around. Yeah, why you wowing? What's so wow?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, it's now so do what you do.
Well,
you gotta
I just
do.
think what's so great about the time right now is you can go make stuff on your own. You can go distribute it on your own. You can get it out there, and you don't need all the gatekeepers.
They're not frowned upon you being independent.
Well, it's not even whether they're frowned upon or not. It doesn't matter what they have to say about it because there's so many different ways to avoid dealing with the people who used to hold people back.
There was a time where, even with artists, it's like, oh, you need a record label.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
somebody like yourself, oh, you need a
100%,
Lionsgate or HBO,
of
but
course.
now you actually just need your iPhone.
I mean, in this Tom Petty doc, the guy sold millions of records already and said, I want out of this deal. You guys fucked me. And he said, the guy comes in and goes, listen, kid, just play your music and shut the fuck up, basically. And he walked out and said, no, and I'll never make another record until I get out of this. And it was a big thing that paved the way for a lot of people, you know? So I think that's
get
cool.
into that.
Any other questions we got?
No, we got to get into that. A lot of people want to know things like that. A lot of people want to know, what do you do when you're looking for an agent, or what do you do when you're writing script? And I know we touched on it briefly, but I think we should actually, kind of map that out and take from your expertise.
Share. It's such a different time now where an agent is not as important, but it is. If you want to go write on a TV show, for instance, I mean, you really need to write some scripts. You got to do it on your own.
Yeah.
Wake up, sit down and write some original stuff now. It used to be writing like shows for other shows that you like. Now people really want originals. And then you got to hit the pavement and you got to go try to find an agent.
On my show, I seen a girl come in. She probably worked with us for, a season or whatever. And by the next season, she was in the writer's room.
What would she work in as what?
I think a writer.
No, at first. What'd she start at that she got in the writer's room?
Like a PA.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to start at the bottom, but there are certain ways.
Is that the bottom?
PA's, it's close. I mean,
it's close to the
ground.
ground.
Bottom,
You're on the ground.
It's close. I mean, it's not the old lady serving food at the hotel late at night, but it's, it's close. And I think that, you have to get your foot in the door. Yeah. And if you want to be, I think the most important thing I like to tell people is try to hone in on what it is that you really want to do, even if, because all of us have multi talents or multi things that we want to do. We want to act, we want to sing, we want to write, we want to direct, whatever. I think it's important that you, at the beginning at least, start with one and really hone a skill and try to find people to surround yourself with that can help you with that. And then,
And I guess, like you said, really getting your foot in the door. I watched stand-ins be on screen.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, congratulations. I don't know what happened, but good for you. I watched you stand in for 3 seasons.
Right.
Now you're like in the hair and makeup trailer.
Oh, that's
I mean,
good.
not necessarily with, a ton of lines, but, that it's still got your foot in the door. And she was telling me, she's like, I've been doing this stand-in work for a long time. And I was like, ooh, have at it.
That's awesome. I was watching the RoboCop, same thing, that Netflix series in the movies. Mm-hmm. And, this producer was just talking about how he loved movies so much. He just used to go to the studios, which, of course, today you can't just walk on a studio lot. They'll arrest you. But if you can find your way any way you can, student films.
You can't say any way you can.
Well,
find your way in the studio.
Don't bring a gun. Don't bring a gun. No, I'm saying, just
okay.
find your way around movies. Find your way around where people are making stuff and get yourself involved with writers. I think a lot of people I talk about, there's a lot of people I came up with who a lot of them have gone on to really good stuff. Some of them haven't, but it's important to surround yourself with good people that you kind of trust and believe in and that aren't trashing hotel rooms, So, but
Listen,
that's good.
I'm on the hunt for the best hotel room.
Any other questions I got?
No.
All right.
No, I think we're all wrapped up on the questions.
All right. That sounds good. So, I don't know. Everybody hopefully enjoyed this. We're going to start figuring out how to do some call-ins and stuff. And Breezy is now on the Instagram page. So ask her questions because she's far more interesting than I am. So Merry Christmas, everybody. And we'll return.
We'll see you after.
Yeah.
Will we see them before New Year?
I don't know.
Probably not. If not, Happy New Year.
You are now tuned in to Hollywood Wayz with Doug and Breezy. Oh, hey, Ted.